We are now streaming.
Welcome to the June 9th Board of Supervisors meeting. Would you please rise and join us with the pledge to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Board of Supervisors did meet on May 29th for an executive session regarding Northeastern New York County Sewer Authority intermunicipal agreements. Other than that, we did not meet since the last meeting. Is there a motion to approve or amend the agenda?
I'll approve the agenda as presented.
Oh, the agenda of one correction. The 6.2.1, that should be the police chief, not the fire chief.
Oh my gosh, that's a good catch.
Then I'll change.
No,
I'll change.
You see, Joe.
Set the agenda as amended.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The minutes of the May 12th, 2026. Does anyone have any corrections, questions, or would they like to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of May 12th, 2026.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, second. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The minutes are approved. That takes us to public comment at this time. Is there any public comment? We will have another public comment near the end of the meeting, but if anyone wishes to ask any questions or make any comments at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on. Special requests. We have a request from Leg Up Farms. We kicked this can down the road from the last meeting, I think, so it's a donation for services to provide for children with special needs in their families. What's the board's wishes?
Well, as I read their email response, they're not really looking for a donation.
Correct. That is what she just sent back to me. She just wanted to try to get you or anybody to participate in some of their events. So all it was a normal mailer that went to, everybody pretty much. And after we kept asking her questions, I think 2 months in a row, I think she was like, you know what, that's actually not the intent of what we mailed out, which we didn't know. We get these documents or mailers and things, and then we put them on the agenda. They look like requests, but that's what she said. So it's up to you guys. You don't have to, but in light of that most recent email where she's just trying to, get some kind of attendance and things to their events.
Okay, with that said, I don't think we need any action other than to possibly mention something to our recreation committee that they might want to
Sure.
coordinate something with Leg Up.
Sure.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, they do have a real nice Playbird sheet every year. I'm lucky enough to get to attend every year just because somebody buys me tickets for it. But it's really nice and it does a lot for them also. So.
Okay, thank you. Well, that takes us up to the fire chief's report. Chief, before you start, I want to just outline for the public your month that you
Yes.
give time to the township, the
No,
gate
it's-
inspection at Starbucks, sprinkler inspection at DHL. You were attending at the public hearing in data centers because you hosted it for us. You have staff review with our staff. You come to the Township Board of Supervisors meeting, safety inspections and Bartlett Drive, Teams meeting for first due reporting, site visit, pre-planned night at forums. So, we had a busy month just with us. How do you work in vacation?
I leave without telling anyone.
No, okay.
And I know Christy and Kate both know that that was, I did go on vacation for a month, and I did coordinate that well, and Mark and Tim were both breathing a sigh of relief when I got back. It's busy, but I have great people that support me and support the township and what we do, so everything, at least on the surface, appears seamless. With that said, I don't really have anything to add to my report, but I'll point out the $400,000 loss for the month of April was a fire at DHL. And as you may or may not know, on Sunday evening, we were at Starbucks again for another roaster fire, which had our units tied up for about 2.5 to 3 hours through cleanup, and there was another major fire there, as well as a significant ag rescue event on Saturday afternoon with a rolled over tractor and trapped operator. So
Was the operator okay?
the operator miraculously was uninjured, but in a precarious position where the tractor could have rolled further because it was a very steep embankment. So we had to get that secured, and then once we gained access to him, we were able to do an assessment, found that he had no injuries, and then were able to gingerly assist him out of the cab in a kind of easy manner.
Was that Locust Point, Zionsview area?
Right up on the grassy embankment there. Right as
I talked to him today. Okay. I just wanted to, I wasn't sure if that was the same thing. Thank you.
yeah, we'll check our ways.
Yep. Yeah.
We're busy, and the crews are very dedicated, and again, significant amount of time and effort and money that's expended on our part that isn't really replenished. So I had a conversation with some of the managers at Starbucks Sunday evening while we were there, and get the same hallowed promises. Just putting that before you, that's the current situation, that's where we're at. But the calls keep coming.
So the question,
This is sorry, just to finish up real quick. This is the second roaster probably in the last 6 months, 3 months, that same amount of time, same amount of calls.
so my question is that I'm assuming that Starbucks is not one of those industrial partners that donates to fire.
When we solicited that before, they forwarded the solicitation to corporate, which is Seattle, Washington. I've had conversation with them in the past. They said, we don't get it. We don't understand what a volunteer fire department is. Explain to them what that is. They said, in Seattle, their facility straddles both the county and city geographic line. They pay their taxes to the city, they pay their taxes to the county. The fire department shows up and puts out the fires. No questions. That's not how we operate.
And
I do get a
DHL
nice
is
letter back from them. They give to the indigent farmers of South America, and that's the extent of their
external.
donation.
And DHL the same?
We have not received, to the best of my knowledge, anything from DHL, Bear, or Pfizer. So DHL means the facility, Bear, and Pfizer inhabit that facility. But when we had the fire there and through the follow-up, I ended that seat as well. That was it.
How about UNFI?
I'm sorry.
UNFI, anything?
That seed was planted when we did their inspections and so forth. Again, our promise is we'll take care of it, we'll take care of it.
Yes, sir,
I
question.
do have a question. Familiar with in other municipalities, especially in Virginia, the volunteer fire departments, they build insurance companies. They would build Starbucks Insurance Company because you're saving their facility. So you should have the ability to be able to send their insurance company a bill. They should pay it.
And that's what we discussed 2 months ago.
And I know that happens in Virginia, and it's not a problem. So, I mean, that would basically save us taxpayers as well as basically protect your budget or replenish your budget for what you gotta spend to do what you need to do or get the additional equipment that you probably need. Because as more of these warehouses go out, you're gonna have that issue.
Oh, and, you know, Starbucks, prime example, Starbucks has been in our community for the last 30 years. And as that facility gets older, people go there. No.
Should be able to send them a bill and you should have to pay.
I should.
We're working on it.
Any questions for the chief on your report?
I have one. Do you recall last time you got financials from Eagle Fire Company?
February.
They don't send me. I get it in your report if it's in your report.
I think Christie said something too because they were behind on reports and they sent 2 months worth, and I want to say it's up through February.
Okay.
That was the last we received on the fire reporting side of that. Maybe March was the last outside of that.
When's the next quarterly payment?
I think June or July.
Yeah, I think it would be.
I think we just received
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning of May.
So for August.
At end of April.
And, no, I'm saying then it would be,
Yeah, what did we switch to?
yeah, it'd be the end of, yeah, it's quarterly.
But I don't know if she's doing it at the end of the quarter or the beginning of the quarter.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't follow it. Jen puts it in your packs and does it automatically, so
Sorry, we moved the quarterly for
It
this
looks
very
like-
reason.
it looks like it would be in August,
So the bottom line is this.
July, August.
Yes.
We shifted the quarterly for this very reason,
Yeah,
right? This is one of the reasons, one of many. Part of it was making sure that there's some reasonable flow of cash that could be, you know, counted on, so you weren't getting these big peaks and valleys. But part of the other equation was, in response to that, one of the things just wanted was some information back as to what's going on, to provide our fiduciary responsibility to the township. And so, based on what I'm hearing, my opinion is, comes to Eagle's next quarterly contribution, it should not get if they don't produce.
I think you guys need to make a motion if,
Well, that's what I'm
Okay.
getting ready to do.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a motion that we notify them that they are not getting the next quarterly payment until we start getting some financial reports as required by township code.
It's not just financials, it's the information that they normally provide as part of their package.
The financial and the fire.
Their reports. Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Discussion. Do we want to pull that trigger before next Tuesday's fire meeting with DCED?
Sure, why not?
We can give them a notice then.
mm-hmm,
It's just it's basically a cure notice that says, if you don't fulfill these obligations, I don't have a problem with it going up before that meeting. They should be fully aware of it.
Okay.
If they listen to this, they'll hear it now.
Any further discussion on the motion? I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Any other questions for Joe?
No.
Thank you for your service to the township, Joe.
Thank you.
I got it, Joe.
I guess that takes us up to police department. My notes. York County Regional Police Report. Is there any questions from the audience other about the police activity in our area, or lack of activity, or too much activity? Have you been pulled over lately, or what? We have the last two meetings. We've had a vigorous crowd, I guess you could call that. A little upset about our 287G an agreement with the ICE. And there's a lot of misunderstanding out there. The 287G that we signed up with the federal agency is to, if we pull over a vehicle and find someone within that vehicle that has a deportation notice, we alert ICE and we detain them. That's our extent as of now. We're not doing raids or anything like that. So it's a miscommunication. And to me, it's an issue of legal or illegal. It's not skin color or anything like that. It's either you're in America legally or you're not. So, any questions? Yes, sir.
What's the stance, or how can we get some more support to crack down on the e-bikes around the neighborhood, running through the stop signs? Somebody's gonna get hurt or killed with these kids where they're ripping around with an e-bike.
Okay. I just read something about e-bikes. They're allowed on the roadway. They gotta follow the
It's a convoluted mess.
yeah,
There's one township down in Bucks County that actually came out with an ordinance to prevent them from riding on the streets. Every school day, I see 3 or 4 of them coming down the middle of Sherman Street here. And it's, I'm sure we're not the only municipality looking at that problem.
And then 16 and stuff like that, and we know for sure in our neighborhood, they're not all 16.
Yeah, the legislators haven't enacted anything to catch them.
to me, it's education versus enforcement. I mean, I don't even think they know the rules. So, education is a big part of that, but I will mention that at Thursday's meeting.
To add to your comments on the 287G, there were some people that showed up at the last meeting that spoke in favor of it. And I think the misconception everybody has on this assisting ICE is Minneapolis, what happened in Minneapolis. This is not what the 287 is all about. It's about the officer makes a stop and they find someone that has a retainer out on, they can call ICE, and that's taken care of. That's the extent of it. The officers, the department gets reimbursed for their time too. The chief has total control over what they can and can't do.
Thank you, Claire. Any other questions? So that takes us into 6.2.1. I'll let Christie.
Sure. So Chief Tim Damons from York County Regional Police Department wrote a letter, and as you know, we got a letter last month saying, hey, Springersbury Township and City of York passed ordinances for the police department to enforce, which would effectively displace homeless encampments from those municipalities and would likely go to other municipalities. So he was saying he recommends that you make an ordinance, which is what you guys authorized Attorney Miller to do. But then he sent another letter to us recently, basically saying that homelessness is a complex issue that extends far beyond public safety concerns, and that simply moving individuals from one location to another does not solve the underlying problem. He went on and listed several examples of that, and he then lists several grant opportunities that York County Coalition on Homelessness or York County commissioners really should be taking initiative and leadership with trying to obtain to help offset the issue that's occurring in York County. And so what he's asking a few municipalities, being us, Windsor Township, York Township, and Spring Garden Township, since we're all a part of York County Regional Police Department, he's asking for us to encourage York County to take a leadership role in pursuing these competitive grant opportunities through the York County Coalition on Homelessness and other appropriate county agencies. And so when he sent this out to the managers, one of the managers came back and was like, well, what do you guys think? Should we do maybe a joint letter? Do you think your board would like to sign a support letter saying that we all come together and we're trying to push York County Commissioners to take that initiative and leadership role. So I drafted a letter, and between myself and these other municipalities, we came to a nice conclusion, which I sent to you guys, on maybe what that joint letter could look like, as long as you agree. If you do agree, then myself and the other managers have already coordinated, how we can maybe get this signed and then sent to the county commissioners if you so wish.
So basically, we're trying to light a fire under the York County Commissioners to apply for grants.
Correct.
Any comments from the board?
No, I think it's important to do it. Encourages, I think it's important to put this letter forward, that we sign it, encourage county commissioners to take action at that regional level, because that is truly where it is best handled and have the resources and access to it, more so than we do, because they span the whole county.
I'm in favor of it.
I am too. Springersbury cleaned out a lot of their homeless encampments a few weeks ago, so we're a contiguous municipality, so I can certainly see them coming in, and it's a growing problem. It's a sad problem. It really is, and some grants may be able to help. So I'll make a motion that we sign this letter and forward it to the other managers for their signature as well.
I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Is this gonna go to all, or besides our signatures?
Correct.
Is this gonna go to the other municipalities that are not on this chain, like York City?
I can certainly forward it when Jenny's the last person in the chain, and she's gonna email it to the commissioners and send it to us. So yeah, we can definitely get it sent out to the whole association for the county, so that they're aware and maybe they'll follow suit. Heck, I could even send the draft to them. Maybe they'll want to participate sooner
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. I'll make a note.
Okay, a report on the Northeastern New York County Emergency Management Agency. We did have a meeting on June 1st. It was discussed about the pending startup of TMI and TMI Unit 1 and 27 mini reactors that are going to be installed over there. So EMA is gearing up for that startup as well. That's going to make us jump off. We discussed about, since we are within the 10-mile radius of TMI, if there was a radiological event and we had to evacuate this building, we discussed where the municipalities would relocate to, and we kicked that around, and I inadvertently said about Windsor's, and that was wrong. I was wrong. I'm thinking Hallam is closer to us.
Oh, okay.
So the county wants us to go up to up on top of the Pleasureville Hill at the fire hall up there. What is that? Just on top of Pleasureville, right top of the hill. And that we discussed that that's not going to be large enough for 3 municipalities, fire department, police department, and everybody to be there. It's a small fire hall. So that's the type of thing that the EMA is working on. We talked about evacuations of people that are on oxygen or need ambulance services and stuff like that. So it's a very complicated project that they're working on, and we're there to support them. Anything else at the meeting? You good?
The other thing I learned that this company, so Hancock's still part of the old nuclear reactor, 3 Mile Island part.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other name?
Constellation?
Yeah, Constellation. Yeah, they only have a hunk of the island.
Yeah. So that complicates things. But Any questions on that? We don't have any development plans, so that takes us down to Andrew's report already. Andy?
I only have one action item in my report this evening, which are the North Point agreements for the Canal Road Regional Way connection. We, as of this evening,
Can you turn on your mic? Thank you.
as of this evening, we've gotten back some of those agreements, I believe, Chrissy, but I don't think we have the original signed copies of those. Correct?
Well, and then when I was looking at this agenda, sitting here thinking, I think Stacy had asked us to put her towards the end because they're going to Manchester Township tonight, so I completely forgot about that.
Okay.
So we can wait or push it off until later if you guys are okay with that. But I printed everything you guys had, and so I have them all ready for us to do our signature pages if they approve.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't sign anything tonight because we still don't have the exit
Okay.
2060s.
Okay.
And this would all be conditioned on the CRPP amendment being passed. And Stacy just today sent over, I'm not sure, there was an email saying that they preliminarily got approval for release of the mortgages for the deeds of dedication. So there's a few things that they need to contribute or add as well. I will also report what they've done is, the holdup in the CRVP agreement was that North Point wanted to include a statement in that CRVP agreement that in the amendment that the parties agree that the Hillwood condition on occupancy for the new project on the Gross Farm would not be waived or modified until the regional way connection occurs. They had also previously had in provisions about refunding their contribution if that connection didn't happen. They pulled all of that out of the CRPP agreement, but they do in the tri-party agreement, they added in, and I think I highlighted this when I circulated it to the board, they added in a provision that the township wouldn't waive or remove that condition on Hillwoods in their conditional approval that they can't get occupancy until Canal Road's completed. However, the restriction in the tri-party agreement only lasts until regional way is connected. So it's a temporary restriction of what the township could do in terms of modifying the condition for Hillwood. I did speak with Chris Fensel to let him know that that's what they were proposing, because Hillwood's not a part of that tri-party agreement, so we really don't have control over it, what the township does. I did let him know, he, not surprisingly, wanted me to pass along to the board his objection to any restriction related to the new project in any of the agreements. But ultimately, that decision, Hillwood's not a party to that tri-party agreement. That's an agreement between Manchester, East Manchester, and North Point. So ultimately, it's up to the board whether or not you approve that. And again, that's all conditioned on the CRPP amendment being adopted.
Andy, Trade Center 83 East was not intended to be mixed up with Canal Road Better.
Leaving that aside, I just think it's disingenuous. I mean, I'll just be blunt.
Yeah, I'm not gonna, argue or take North Point's side on any of that. what was forwarded to the township and presented is, you know, maybe as close as we're gonna get to get an agreement to move everything forward. And importantly, get the deeds of dedication so that we don't hold up the HOP permit. However, you know, I understand where the board is coming from. I will say North Point would like the agreements at least conditionally approved this evening. And will say that at this point, Canal Road Betterment amendment isn't approved by the parties. There's a number of things here that we're still waiting on from North Point. I don't think that it's critical this evening to approve the agreements. They are asking for you to do that. I'm otherwise okay with them. I just want you all to understand that's one of the conditions that's being put in the tri-party agreement. That's ultimately up to you.
And the tri-party agreement's only between the
That's
townships.
the Manchester Township, East Manchester Township, and North Point.
Okay, and so I'll just ask the question. And if we move forward, let them put that in, and we just basically ignore that provision when it's time for the regional. What's our penalty?
Well, I mean, first of all, with the condition, your condition in the Hillwood approval is, I'm in front of me and I can, rather than paraphrase what it is.
Not that I like to go against agreements, but frankly, that motif priority is, that's what it takes to get it across the line, fine. But if Hillwood finishes the project and Regional Way isn't connected, I really don't care if there's no penalty. And I hate to be that way, but I will if I have to. That's my opinion. I don't know if the other supervisors agree with that approach or not.
Yeah, so the condition that's on Hillwood's plan approval currently is that they have an acknowledgement that no occupancy permit will be issued until substantial completion of the Canal Road Betterment Project, which shall at a minimum include the entirety of Canal Road is in a passable two-lane condition with no remaining lane closures. The intersection of Canal Road and Regional Way is constructed and open with no traffic restrictions on Canal Road at its intersection. The bridge on Canal Road or the Little Conwando Creek is constructed and open with no traffic restrictions. And the intersection improvements of Canal Road and Susquehanna Trail are constructed with no traffic restrictions. And this is still in the agreement. Notwithstanding the above, if requested by developer, the township may, in its sole discretion, issue temporary certificates of occupancy prior to the substantial completion of Canal Road, provided the PennDOT HOP permit has been issued and road construction is commenced. So you would still have the flexibility to issue temporary occupancy permits. That condition in the tri-party agreement also only exists and remains in place until either the sooner they'll occur, the temporary or permanent connection of Regional Way to Canal Road. So once the temporary connection is established, that whole provision is in the tri-party.
In the tri-party.
Still applies.
Is there any penalty in the tri-party agreement?
No, that doesn't trigger.
You know what I'm saying,
Right.
like liquidated damages, or you gotta get money back. That's why I'm saying. if there's
Andy,
any-
are you saying that the Hillwood condition will evaporate once the intersection is complete, Regional Way and Canal Road?
Even the temporary connection. Once a connection is made of any kind between Regional Way and Canal Road, that restriction on the township's ability to waive or modify the condition of Hillwood goes away.
Okay.
And all I'm saying is that based on what I've heard thus far, it's like, even if we say, fine, we'll sign it, and then we ignore it, there's really no teeth, unless I'm missing a piece.
I don't understand what North Point gets out of this,
Yeah.
including 83 East. I just don't get it.
I think so I do think this is I think this is what North Point sees as a compromise on their part, because they were very adamant about a refund of their money if the connection never occurs. In other words, if they put the money in and then the connection doesn't happen,
Yeah.
the developers would not agree to that at all. They wanted it to be the same as DHL, where once they put their money in, their money's in, and there's no possibility of a refund of any of it. So, as a compromise, they've dropped any demand for refundability, and they had that tied to certain time. North Point originally tied that to timelines in the agreement, that they could get a refund of their money if certain things didn't happen within certain time periods, which wasn't acceptable to anybody because there's utilities and other third parties that control a lot of the timeline or impact it. So this was a compromise to leave something in the agreements that assured them that additional development wasn't going to get completed without some kind of connection to Canal Road.
I think that's just a weak stance, because, again, if I ignore that, if the council ignores it, they've got nothing against us, okay? They don't win anything. And, we've all been talking about the Canal Road betterment for well over a decade. I mean, certainly you gentlemen have before I got here. And I know I've been complaining about it ever since I moved here a decade ago. So there's clearly a vested interest to get this stuff done and connected.
So who's responsible for the completion of the connection?
That's the CRVP group. So what will change with the amendment is that there was certain work that still had to be completed by North Point, which they originally asked to be completed by the CRVP group. The decommissioning of the temporary connector between Bear Road and Regional Way. They asked that the CRVP group take over that work, and they would fund an additional contribution to do that. The developers did not want to expand their scope, bring anything else into the HOP permit, which is already well on its way to being finalized. So the compromise on that point is that Manchester Township will now complete that work, and North Point will make a contribution directly to Manchester Township to complete the work.
But part of that road is in our township, where it comes
Yes,
down
the
Bear Road
portion
daylights.
The portion in East Manchester Township, however, is part of the scope of the Canal Road betterment project.
And that's coordinated through us, the design of that and the closure of that road. Because I don't want that being a
Yes,
Okay.
that is,
parking spot up there.
Manchester Township will have to coordinate their work with the CRVP project, but it's probably better that Manchester Township be coordinated than an out-of-state contractor or out-of-state developer. So that will have to be coordinated, but the tie-in, and the portion of Regional Way that's in East Manchester Township, which is just a very short segment, that all will be done with Canal Road HOP.
The next question is, does North Point have any leverage then over Trade Center 83 getting done if they drag their feet on doing their end of it?
On doing their,
Final preps and stuff.
Yes.
You mentioned that they have some things they need to do to accomplish.
so North Point had decommissioning work to decommission. I believe currently there's a temporary cul-de-sac there on Bear Road, and then the connector into Regional Way. That all has to be
Perfect timing.
decommissioned, and essentially return to, I guess it's going to return to either gravel or grassy area.
That doesn't impact connecting regional way.
No,
road.
that's the work that Manchester Township will take over anyway.
After the connection is made.
Yes. So I don't believe that, that North Point should have any work remaining once these agreements are signed. And I believe that's their goal, is they don't want to have any responsibility for anything.
I just want to make sure that we're on a specific timeline for regional way to intersect and get done. We have to do that before the bridge work
Yes.
is done, so.
And I think that's the only thing, I think that's fully, at this point, fully up to the Canal Road Betterment Project
Okay,
group.
okay.
So that, what's holding that up at this point are the utility relocations, which are complicated because there's utilities going under the bridge that's going to be taken down and replaced. And then I believe they're still waiting on a Chapter 105 permit from DEP for some of the stream work in the box culvert relocation on the Kingsley side of Canal Road. And then once those things come through and we have the deeds of dedication, Kingsley and North Point, PennDOT should be in a position to issue the HOPs. There was an issue with Conoway Township had to exercise eminent domain over a few properties to get the right of way they needed. That's been done. I think the appeal period has run. There could still be a dispute over how much they have to pay, but they should have control and possession of that right of way now to move forward with that. That was all in Conoway Township though. So I think everything except Chapter 105 permit, utility relocations, plans for utility relocations, and the deeds of dedication for the right-of-way for North Point and Kingsley. I think just about everything else is wrapped up in order to issue the HOP permits. As soon as those are issued, the temporary connector will be the first thing done.
I think compromise, we have to compromise. I know Hillwood might be a little upset about this, but North Point did make a compromise, so I think this is the best possible solution to the situation.
I think we're at a point where, we've accomplished, 95% of what we set out to accomplish, and we're tabbing over the last 5% of it, and at some point, it's better, and I don't want to see the deeds of dedication. The deeds of dedication are tied to getting this done. I don't want to see the deeds of dedication hold things up at this point.
So you need a motion for the tri-party agreement?
It's up to the board whether you want to conditionally approve that tonight, or you want to hold off until we get the rest of the items that we need to submit. If you want to conditionally approve it, you can conditionally approve subject to execution of the Canal Road Betterment Amendment, release of any liens on the deeds of dedication for North Point's dedications, right-of-way dedications, and then delivery, the other big item they haven't delivered at this point is we're still waiting on the deed of dedication for the exit 26 right-of-way on their side. They're supposed to be working on a legal description for it. We don't have that yet. And then finally, we don't have the original executed copies of these agreements yet.
That's too many contingents for me. They're not it'll take a month to get those done, so we can work on this, approve this next month.
Yeah, I would agree. I think in concept, there's too many open items. I'd much rather have them closed, but I think in concept, I agree with the exception of what's in the tri-party agreement, but I'll say it once again, since there's really no penalties or teeth. Yeah, if we get to a place where that has any bearing on anything being done, we've got bigger issues. Right, that means the bridge hasn't even begun, and that's probably at a minimum 2 years down the road before we get to that point. So, assuming, and let's shift gears to the positive. On the positive side, assuming all this stuff comes to fruition in the next 30 to 60 days, when do you think that temporary connection would take place to start diverting traffic? Because that bridge is no longer safe.
Yeah, I believe, Shane, they've been talking about trying to get it done this construction season yet, correct?
At least getting started, but I think the
At least
utilities,
getting the temporary connection, the detour set up, the alternate route set up.
To go up through regional ways and start pushing people that way.
Yes.
yeah, so they could be fall into winter, hopefully, if you're lucky.
Best case.
That's how I took it, correct, Andy?
Yeah.
I think that's important because the bridge isn't getting any better. And I always cross my fingers when there's an 18-year-old and me.
Yeah.
So I think if we have, and Daryl, I don't know if you have any other comments to make on it. I mean, I think if we have, what would be helpful for myself and I think for North Point is just to know if in concept the board's good with the way the tri-party agreement is done. I think the other agreements we've reviewed, Christie's reviewed, Shane's seen those, I think we're good with deeds of dedication, and everything else that's submitted. Just to have an understanding whether the board's okay in concept with what they're doing. I don't think there's a formal motion we need, but to understand if we're okay in concept with what they're doing so that we know whether there's anything we need to work on yet, or is this just a matter of administratively getting the.
Yeah, I don't want to see this stalled, I want to see it keep moving, that's why I thought maybe the conditional thing would be a good motion, but it can be relayed that we're all three in agreements that we'll see this project keep moving and get to the final result.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't, if that's it, I don't think there's anything else to take action on. Like Christy said, they may be here later, and I don't know if they'll be bringing additional things
They're right here.
or, oh, okay. Sorry.
You never looked forward, huh?
He was focused.
Yeah.
He was.
So did you want to add anything, Stacy, based on what was said? or-
I have original deeds with me tonight, but we are still, I think, waiting on the legal description for the exit 26 form that is attached to the tri-party agreement. That's correct. And we don't, as I had indicated in my email to you, we're still finalizing the release of lien on that building 1 deeds. So while I have those original deeds here with me tonight, the release of lien has not been finalized on those.
Okay. Are you, does the board's discussion this evening, does that give you enough information, I guess, or direction as far as, I mean, I think we're okay with the way the tri-party agreement is set up now and moving forward with that if we check off the rest of what needs to be done.
Yes, we're just looking forward to getting it done. We were just at Manchester, they approved the tri-party as well as the First Amendment to their agreement and the deed of dedication that's needed for Regional Way, the portion that's in Manchester. So that part has been completed.
Okay.
And this is like Mayor North Point, I'll speak on behalf of the lender release of lien. We've been working through that with the lender for a few months now, and really there's not pushback on it, just the process that takes a while, so.
Okay.
I'm expecting to have that signed, like, within the next week.
Okay. I think we may be able to be in a position at next month's meeting as well to have the CRDP amendment signed potentially also. So I hope to potentially get that in front of you.
Bless you.
Just to go down the list, what do I know you mentioned like 4 things. What do we need in order to move forward next year?
So well, even if you gave an approval next month, it would be conditioned on the CRPP amendment getting signed. And we may have that ready. I think we're waiting on one of the developers yet to just sign off on what we circulated. The exit 26 legal descriptions, the release of the liens, mortgage liens on the property that would affect the deeds of dedication. And then the last thing was just the signed original agreements, which it sounds like they have.
So we got 2 things. So out of those 4 things, what do we have? I think number 4 we got, the executed agreement.
I think some originals of those are being dropped off this evening, so.
Is that correct? Sorry.
Everything except for the tri-party. I don't have an original of the tri-party,
Okay.
but all of the deeds and the easements, all the things that were there for the original signatures I have.
So then out of the other 3, the CRDP amendment may or may not be.
Next month, that's.
Right,
that's
next month.
But we're going to, we'll try to have
Right.
that in front of you next month.
But the exit 26 deed and the release of liens, it's highly probable that that'll be all done and dusted later for next week.
We anticipated, we thought we'd have that release of liens actually.
Just trying to make sure, at least in my mind, that if the only thing we have that's outstanding next month is the amendment in the CRDP, would we be in a position to say, yeah, contingent based on getting that executed amendment?
Yeah,
I would think,
Yeah, I don't
I
mind,
think that would be fine.
I don't mind doing some contingencies, but
It's just too many
it's
right
premature
now.
for this much.
Yeah, it's too many right now.
That included temporarily.
Yeah.
Does that help at all? At least know where we're at, position-wise?
No.
For clarity,
Mhm.
you're expecting to sign the canal road and at the same time the tri-party agreement presented?
Well, I think that Andy's hoping that's going to be done and ready to go in advance. It may not be, but, and they I think what everything's saying is they recognize that the tri-parties could end up being division on that, but they're hoping that it will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's not ready next month, I think what you're saying is that you position is still include all of your agreements, just with the addition. Rather than just the amendment.
Okay, we're good?
Sorry, I have one question. The legal description for exit 26. The entire agreement is to be reviewed and accepted as a condition of just the legal description.
It's a deed of dedication. That's an exhibit to the tri-party agreement. So I don't think we don't have a complete tri-party agreement until we have that. So that's one of the exhibits to the tri-party agreement. It's a deed of dedication. And I think that Stacy's already circulated and reviewed the deed of dedication itself. What's missing is the legal description of the agreement.
Didn't you guys just come from Manchester Township?
Yes,
What happened at Manchester Township?
they approved everything.
Just curious.
If you have no other questions,
Can I deposit these original deeds and temporary construction easement with someone this evening, and is it best with Christie?
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
So, is that it for your report, Andy?
yeah, that's all that I had unless there's questions on anything else.
Any questions from the board?
None for me.
Staff?
Is it,
I added things to your
Yeah.
agenda is all. And the first thing that I added was motor technology. They have no comments in regards to the language and the developers agreement and the stormwater agreement. However, they are going to get me the names that should be signers on behalf of the company. They said that everyone that's listed in the documents is deceased.
Yeah, I don't, we were, I mean, the deeds may not have been updated because it was a partnership, so the names in there that we had may not have been updated.
And that's fine. They're going to correct it. And, but I figured since there were no changes to the language and they agree to that we would bring these before you. You already approved their land development plan for their addition. So before you, we have standard language for the development and financial security agreement and the stormwater facility maintenance and monitoring agreement for motor technologies building addition. Do you have any questions?
So you need a motion to approve the development and stormwater agreements for 515 Willow Springs Lane Motor Technology.
Correct.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. The next thing that I put under Attorney Miller's report for discussion, to start the discussion, is that Daryl Albright, sitting here, came to Shane and I regarding his parcel and how the property line between our adjoining property goes up through his driveway, and he, achieves getting through his property by cutting technically through part of our property, and some of his driveway to the back to the shed, I believe, a shed or a tree, is also a part of our property. It's always been like that. And this garage set in here, you can access it from either our drive or from Daryl's side. We have garage doors on both sides. If for whatever reason we need to get into our garage, we would be utilizing Daryl's driveway to achieve that. And therefore, it would be wise of us to make that right by whatever Attorney Miller recommends, whether that's an easement agreement. I don't recommend a subdivision moving the lines, though, because it would create zoning issues for setbacks and things. So I just wanted to start that conversation.
If I can provide the history. Blaine Rensel bought the property from John Kunkel, 11 acres. The township bought a parcel here, and Darrell Leppa bought a parcel in the back, which eventually the township took over. In 1986, I then purchased the house, and it's about under an acre from Blaine Rensel. And at that time, there was just a stone dirt driveway up there. And over the years, in 1990, I put on my first addition, and that's when I paved the driveway. And then, what year did you build the new building in the back? Remember? Was it
I want
during
to say
that?
05, because that started,
Yeah.
I think, in 06.
Well, then in 2005, when they came out and surveyed, put in some monuments, then I realized, part of my driveway is on the township side. And over the years, they built their building, the new building back there. And over the years, we commingled and shared, and wasn't any problems. I don't ever see any problems. I just want to try and clean this up before I expire or move on. When I built my addition in 1990, all that was approved by the township, and I don't know if we had building inspections back then, but I submitted the drawings and everything. So now it's just a point in time where I'd like to get this cleaned up, and I'm looking at like an easement that we share, be transferable whenever I move out. So And I agreed to pay the, costs of the solicitor and the engineer.
And so I think what would work in this situation is to have an easement agreement. It would be a cross easement agreement, because the township would have the right to use part of Daryl's property as well. And we need, I think the first step to that would be for the board to approve drafting the easement agreement, but equally important, having Byron put together a simple sketch plan of the easement agreement so that we can document who has the rights to use which portion and where everything is.
Mhm.
I did tell Christie that I went back and checked my files. It's all been surveyed already. The driveway's located at the point, so it's just.
It's in the survey work.
And it's drawn up to a point when we did the subdivision plan and LD plan back there, so it's a simple,
Grab the old plan.
yeah,
and
it's
do
there,
some work.
it's there, and Pat already looked it up.
So then you need a motion to approve a draft agreement for cross easement agreement, correct?
Right, drafting a cross easement
Drafting
agreement.
a cross
and doing
easement
it-
agreement.
and doing a drawing.
And this is the 5085 North Sherman Street extended parcel number 2600 MI0049.PO and then 5 zeros to be specific. So I make that motion that we appoint our solicitor to do that.
I'll second that.
And
Second that.
and Darrell has to recuse himself, of course, from this. So I'll call for the vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Mike's
Record showed I abstained from voting.
Does my mic keep going off?
You know.
Okay, is that all we need on that issue? Andy?
Yes, I believe so. That'll get it started.
Okay.
And then that's all I threw on your agenda, Andy.
It's nice.
So we can move on to engineer's report?
Correct.
Okay, Byron, engineer's report?
Yeah, Sherman Street, again, I think I reported last month that we're, as far as our permits and everything, we're done, we have everything. Everything's in PennDOT's in, and I did help York Water, because York Water had to get a GP permit, so I gave them a copy of my permit so that would help speed up their permit, for them to relocate. Willow Springs Land, I know I had a conversation with Shane, and started looking into different types of gates there, and we'll coordinate, work with Shane.
What's the timeline?
I don't know, I really haven't had one at this point, I thought we were kind of waiting until.
That's on the Hanover company there, so.
Wait a minute, what was the question? What was the
It's
question?
just a timeline on
For
Willow Springs.
closing them, are you talking about closing them?
Only, I think only when.
Express is done.
Expressway.
Yeah,
And I was hoping that the regional way would be open before we do that, because
yeah,
there is a tremendous amount of sedan traffic on that road coming out.
Yeah, but my concern is it's a safety issue. It's getting worse because people are making left-hand turns and people coming around the corners and whatnot. I mean, to me, the sooner that road gets shut down, the safer it becomes.
It could be reopened because you're not going to demolish the road.
Right.
We're just blocking it. So if we had to open it for the Canal Road Betterment Project, then it is what it is. But we are on a deadline for turning the permit around for Hanover Company. I think it was 1 year after they gave us notice that they were going to start digging. That time has started. I believe our time is up by the end of this summer. I calendared it for us. So it sounds like we're on our way there. We just need those temporary construction easements.
Right, 'cause what I always thought was expressway improvements had to happen first, right?
Correct.
Correct.
to make sure that you have the right turn lanes in there and things of that
Yeah.
nature.
But just because those improvements do happen, still doesn't mean that I have to close Willow Springs at that
No,
time.
I understand. It's
It
just-
all depends how it falls with the Canal Road Betterment project.
And I understand that,
Yeah.
but my overarching push was this whole safety issue down there, because it's just getting worse.
The third item there is Espresso Way. I hand-delivered and met with some of the representatives on the agreements. And I was just reading that PennDOT has conditionally approved the HOP subject to the two temporary construction easements that Andy prepared. They were fine with the easements the way they were written, and I'm just waiting for signatures from Ollie's and Vince's. And I'll stay on that. I did check with them, but they didn't have an answer for me. Ollie told me it's still out of court.
Let's go back to the Willow Springs cul-de-sac thing. I think the key to this whole thing is once the bridge gets shut down, we need regional way open. Trucks coming down out of Expressos going to turn left and go up through, and they're going to have to go up regional way.
Right.
Same way when Expresso is done and regional way is finished, then we shut down Willow Springs. Because Willow Springs is going to have to go up to Expresso, and they're going to turn left to go up to the trail.
With Expresso and Regional Way, once the temporary connection's made to Regional Way, what do you need? Willow
We don't,
Springs?
I say that's when
Oh.
we shut it down.
Okay,
But regional way is the pivot point.
I don't necessarily want to wait for Regional Way to get connected to shut down Willow Springs. My position is, if the stuff is done at Expresso Way, Willow Springs should be shut down. And get that traffic, stop them from coming out there, regardless of where Regional Way is.
But if we do it when regional way is open, they're gonna come down Expresso and go out and go up regional way. If we close it early, they're gonna go to Board Road.
Yeah.
And once you establish a pattern with people, it's a pattern, just like Canal Road Extended.
Much-
Canal Road Extended is busier now than it ever was because we had a detour on that road.
And I understand that, and I agree with that. My preference would be, yeah, pushing the Board Road. That's a better place for them to go out and exit safely. Yeah, there's more traffic, but, it's gotta go somewhere. And most of those folks, I would say, will probably take a moment and be like, oh, geez, I can go over to the light of Expresso Way and get out safely. They just don't do it now because they think they can be faster and beat the light.
Okay. Well,
So I think, when, first and foremost, we're all in agreement. Expressway way improvements have to be completed before anything happens, right?
yes.
And then I think we can reevaluate and see where things are. If it makes more sense to keep it open for a while, then I'm happy to listen to the data and the rationale for keeping it open.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, Andy, but I believe there was 2 or I think it's 3 phases to the Canal Road Betterment detour. And I know the bridge is one of those phases while opening up Regional Way. There's also another phase where at some point to finish from the bridge to Expresso, they are going to have to detour on Expresso for a little bit of time there. It's a short, just a paving phase, but it's still a phase.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because the initial connection, the regional way to the Canal Road won't be at the, right.
Right, and if they're detouring at Expresso, at that point, no one can go out Willow Springs, not because of the cul-de-sac, because of the detour, yeah. And no
That's
one
the
can get
time.
to Willow Springs, so it's already kind of shut down anyway.
So that's probably maybe the better rationale.
That's the time to do it then. And we want to discuss gates. Joe, the gate at Willow, I would prefer a siren activated gate, would you?
Yeah,
Um,
that's the easiest.
There's only one problem with the siren activated gate. We have no electric there, so they're solar powered. The ones at Canal are probably not going to get enough light to keep that charge going from what the fence company's telling me. Unless electric is ran. it's, the one up at the cul-de-sac be in the sun all day, but the one down at the lower end, with all the trees and everything down there, it may not get enough power.
There's a, what is that down there? Is that the sewer authority's like substation or something? Off to
That's,
the right-hand side?
that's off to the side of the roadway, yes.
Is there a way to?
We can cut
Share
trees,
power?
we can cut trees down, but I still don't know how many it's gonna take to do that, you know what I mean, but, yeah.
No, I'm just thinking there's power there. Is there a way to?
You're gonna
branch
pay
off?
for it.
Well, yeah, you got to
Well-
pay for it, but I mean, sewer authority's got some. There's a way to.
Well, I
Break
thought
into
we-
their
I
power
thought we
panel
charged
and-
North Point.
I didn't want to go that route. But okay.
Yeah. I don't know, just throwing that out there, I didn't get the quotes or anything yet, when I met with the gentleman who was leaving for vacation a couple days later, so. I mean, if you're set on motion activated, or siren activated gates, then we're gonna have to come up with another solution for that. At least the one down below.
Well, I really do believe that should be our standard for our township.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, and I would see if we can get power from somewhere.
Yep. Alright.
So the only thing I need is once Shane decides, and the board decides on what type of gate, I just have to give that information to PennDOT.
I think you have it already, right?
So, yeah, I just need a little more specs on it. than-
When I get the gate, yeah.
So, that's all.
Do you have a preference, chief? You never had any problems with the solar activated one?
No.
Okay.
As long as they're
Correct, yes, and that's gonna be on us now, so,
Right.
yep, so.
Yeah. Okay, anything else for Byron?
Nope.
Shane, Public Works?
All I have, gentlemen, is my report, unless you have any questions.
I promised my wife I would ask why you can't turn right on that red down there on Canal and Locust.
Because you can't see far enough to the left.
Well, you can. It's just illegal to do, right?
It wasn't illegal to do till we changed it, but the trucks could not get through the turning right on red quick enough. And I was getting so many complaints from the traffic coming down around that corner.
I
You
do
can
feel-
only look so far to a point. And because I'm sure they're going over the speed limit coming, they fly around that corner. don't they?
No, they don't. Everyone.
They're all doing 30 mile an hour. Yeah.
Any questions for Shane?
Just one, have you received any complaints lately for the tractor trailers turning right off of 921 on the Board Road? That's pretty much calmed down.
I haven't received any complaints.
Okay.
I've
That's what I
seen
wanted
a
to know.
couple,
Yeah.
but it's not like it was there.
Yeah, I've only seen one or two turn going up Board Road in the last 2 months maybe.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I was gonna say, if anybody wants to move and hang out at my house, I'll show you different.
There you go.
Especially at 3, for some reason, truck traffic escalates overnight.
Well, you should be out there stopping them.
Did you not hear his comment that he's busy?
Uh-huh.
He hasn't moved for
Okay, moving on to Manager, Secretary, Treasurer's Report, that's a mouthful. Northeastern New York County Sewer Authority, any,
Their minutes weren't very exciting. There wasn't anything really notable for the month of May. But I believe I need a motion for you to accept the resignation of Tyler Kramlick since he moved, I believe, out of state.
yeah, he's going to be working out of Florida primarily, and Tyler did call me personally and submitted his resignation request to me. It's unfortunate because he's been joining on conference call most of the times for the meetings, and he doesn't feel that that's the right thing for him to do. So
His house did sell. I just
Yeah.
got the transfers.
I'll make a motion that we accept Tyler Kramnick's resignation from the sewer authority.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
He will be missed.
Yeah. Thanks for your service.
He was very good in that. I'll talk.
Yeah, yep. And I do have 2 individuals that showed interest so far. I believe one is here, Jim. And Sarah was not able to make it tonight. She had to get a hold of me. She said she's still interested. She just had a family commitment that she had to attend to. But I'm not sure if you really want to dive into any of that right now. Maybe introduce yourself after the meeting and get to know the guys up here. But otherwise, if you don't have anything else on that, we can move into the intermunicipal agreement. We trying to poker face it.
What?
What, is there another joint meeting coming up for them?
So, right. So I think that, and I'm not 100 on which direction, Andy, you want to go with this conversation, but I don't know if you need the board to give you the authority to get a hold of Attorney Ruth to maybe postpone that meeting because of a presentation maybe that we'd like to see.
Yeah, that's what, I just wanted to get clarification from the board. Well, confirm first that you want to postpone that meeting from, I think it's currently scheduled for June 22nd to the July meeting. And then second, what the board would like to ask the authority to be ready to present or I guess show to the board at that meeting or ahead of that meeting. I think there's been some discussion about getting a capital improvements plan or not really a plan, I guess, as much as information from the sewer authority on what capital improvements may be coming up and what their proposals are to potentially finance those capital improvements.
Just something more documented, because I did attend that last meeting. It was just verbal discussion. There really wasn't any documentation. Took some notes, obviously, but I think we just need some more details written down to help influence and guide us into any edits that we'd be making in this movie. I mean, does that make sense to you? So do you need a motion for us?
I think a motion to for me to contact the authority to request this meeting be postponed to July, and also request additional information, additional details on capital improvements plans.
So, I'll make the following motion that we allow Attorney Miller permission to contact, is it Attorney Ruth, the sewer authority, Northeastern Sewer Authority, and request that the June 22nd meeting be postponed until the July meeting, don't know what date that is, and also request that additional documentation be provided to help influence edits to the intermunicipal agreement.
I'll second that.
Discussion, do we want Attorney Ruth to come to the 14th Board of Supervisors meeting next 2 weeks prior to the 27th so that we can ask him pertinent questions, he can give his presentation?
Do we want to, and I don't know that he will be, I mean, Chris Toms may be the more appropriate person to give the engineer for the authority or somebody else from the authority. Do we want to give them, the option to say, you know, either come to the Board of Supervisors meeting on the 14th next month or be ready to, or provide information ahead of the authority meeting later in the month?
His choice. As long as we get the information. I thought we'd get better face-to-face that we can ask him questions, but whatever.
Yeah, and I would, I'm fine doing it either way. you should get the opportunity, I think, in the municipal meeting, for the meeting with the other boroughs and the authority, will be an opportunity to ask those questions as well. If you, so I thought maybe give them the choice either whichever they would prefer.
Well, my burning question is why all of a sudden are we have an emphasis on having a tri-municipal agreement? Because we've gone a couple of years now without one. And is there something behind it? That's what I want. Are you okay with that, Darryl? Dean?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And Jim, I just want to say, I know that they are postponing an intermunicipal meeting, but the sewer authority is still having their meeting on that night. They just always schedule us to come an hour before if we're doing an intermunicipal informational, which is what we're postponing. Okay, so I just wanted you to know that you can still attend it. You're welcome.
And the July meeting, the fourth Monday?
July 27th.
27th.
Yep. Our township meeting is the 14th.
So, I mean, it's only the 9th, so it gives them a month to get data together. 6 o'clock, right? They moved to 6 as well.
So, I committed to attending the sewer authority meetings in the interim until we get somebody up to speed and acclimated, but I cannot make this month's meeting, the 22nd.
Plan to go.
Okay, because I'm going to be out of town. Vacations. Okay.
Oh, I'll go.
Will you?
Yep, I'll let Desiree know that you're going to go.
Okay.
Okay.
You got that. Oh, really short. Could have been my real calendar.
So anything else from you?
Not for the sewer authority, so
I'll refer to Kate for zoning officer's report.
So we don't have any planning commission meeting for June. We do have a continued case for the zoning hearing board, which will be held on June 25th at 6 p.m. It's a continuance for the case from last month for 150 Old Hickory Road. The zoning hearing board members gave a continuance so the applicant can provide a new plan showing no more than 5 percentage points over the allowable maximum lot coverage, and they also want the plan to show how the stormwater will be managed so that there is no negative impact to the neighboring properties. We did have one neighbor come and testify opposing the project for her concern with the sinkholes in the area and the flooding that could occur in her basement, because I think it's downhill. Her property sits downhill from where 150 Old Hickory is going to try to put this pool that they want to put a pool in, but they were denied due to lot coverage. But her concern is for the stormwater runoff creating issues on her property. Other than that, do you have any questions on the report?
I watched the zoning hearing meeting, and it was deferred, which I thought was a good decision to make sure we have our ducks in a row and everything. I'm anxious to see how that turns out. Any questions for Kate? No. So we're bypassing the zoning hearing board June 25th. We already discussed that. Bring us up to speed on the conversation we had with Lane Gross.
I did not have a conversation with Lane Bruce. Did you have a conversation?
Yeah, he
Very
came up to
good.
me
Okay.
last May 21st, I guess, was the zoning hearing board, and asked that. He said that he has enough things on his plate that was removed that he would like to be a full-time member and not the alternate. So I said I'd pass it along to Christie. So
Okay, like I said, I watched the meeting and I thought Lane brought some good points to
Yeah.
surface.
Yeah, he
So I'll ask Joyce, would he be a welcome addition?
Very much so.
Okay.
He brought a lot to that first night and shared his work.
Hmm. I thought so
We
too.
would be very happy to have him on the panel.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Lane Gross to fulfill the unexpired term, which expires on December 31st of 2026.
Now I'll second that motion. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Planning Commission, we already remarked there's no June meeting. Code Enforcement Officer reports.
She's been doing good. She's, picking up quickly on her job duties and responsibilities. She handles the phone like a piece of cake for her to talk to whoever calls into the township. She does the front desk fine. All in all, she's doing good. She's still working with Byron on stormwater basins and the management. I believe she started a little bit of MS4 training. I'm not sure if that was Byron.
I am not sure. Byron,
Oh,
did
okay.
she, oh, was he over there? Did she train with you for MS4?
Not too much. The next thing that will be coming up would be the annual report she will do in September.
Yeah.
If she wants to help do that or do that, I'll happy to show her.
Okay.
How is she grasping the stormwater basins
Fine.
and stuff?
We met, I took her with me, I had York Water out at Asbury, wanted me to walk their basins, make sure they're taken care of, and they had I guess a letter from her about grass mowing that's been mowed, that those basins look better here this year than I've seen in 25 years. But she walked the basins with us, and I'm sorry, I didn't notice her talking, but she jumped in and had the opportunity.
Good.
If she disagreed with something, she was more than welcome to disagree with me. But York Water's cleaning up a couple little minor things there, and they're happy to do it. So.
Good news. Okay, we have some ordinance changes.
So if it's okay, I just was going to briefly tick down these items. About 2 years ago, we did a very big overhaul of our ordinances because we hadn't done it for several years. And so really, Kate and I only have about maybe a year and a half worth of items that that I have Kate jot down on this Excel sheet that we keep track of. And so if we hear you guys say something in a meeting, which isn't very often about changes, but we jot them down, or if we come across something while doing reviews and things, we'll put it down. So her and I were going over these ordinances today before this meeting just to refresh our memories. It's been a while. But there are some things that we're probably just going to remove from the recommendations for tonight. And if anyone has any disagreement, please say so. Otherwise, I was looking to see if you would agree to motion to have Andy draft something up for you to look at and then move forward to the appropriate boards like Planning Commission. So I'm going to just get started. Kate and I did a training like last year, and one of the recommendations was to have one definition section. And we did talk to Andy about it, and he did explain that would be a very big task and a half to do. So we said we'd just put it on here for consideration is all. So if that is too big of a task to undertake, then we'll scrap that idea. It was a recommendation from a.
Just go down the list and tell us
Okay.
if it's big or small.
All right, well, that's the first one. It's to have one definition section. Right now, like every section or chapter has its own definitions. And sometimes they're a little conflicting depending on what area you're in is all. So it would clean it up a lot. Okay, so then the next item is, we're actually willing to scrap this next item. It was roadside stands. We had not come across a retail business wanting to just have pumpkins or flowers outside their store before, because they asked for a permit. And we wrote it down on this list, but then we figured out, well, it is accessory to the retail business. Someone like Manchester Hardware, for instance, does it the very large majority of the year, and it hasn't been an issue. So another one would be Gingrich Excavating that does it. So if it's okay with all of you, unless you think it's a good idea, I don't think we should provide for regulations addressing these outdoor sales for retails that are accessory to the retail business.
So is that a recommendation or not?
We're going to strike it. We're striking it
So
as long as you're
making
okay.
a recommendation to eliminate that.
To eliminate it from our list, yeah.
Sorry, I'm still confused. Is this to eliminate it from our ordinance?
No, from the list. It was one of the, we went over it today, and I realized we probably shouldn't have it on here at all. So that's my fault.
Okay.
Moving on, the next item was accessory structures for roadside stands. We feel that there needs to be a definition for temporary structure. The next item is in regards to animals other than domestic animals. The reason for this is because we came across someone who bought a property, I think it was in the conservation district. They had a pretty big parcel, primary use was single family dwelling, and they just wanted to have farm animals accessory. It wasn't a primary agricultural operation or anything. But the heartburn was that we limit them in the square foot of a livestock structure to 300 square feet. And for chickens and birds and things, it was 150 square feet. And because of their land size, they could actually have a lot of animals. And there's no way the amount of animals that our ordinance allows for their size lot will be able to fit in that small of a structure. So we were recommending that, I think Kate had some ideas, and we can get with Andy on what that would look like and put it in a draft. But we feel that we should do something about that. That would only make sense. Right now, it doesn't make sense. The next item is in regards to queuing. When we say queuing area on an industrial site, what's happening is when you get into certain sites like DHL, for instance, Kate, Chief Stevens, and Pete Schilling were all waiting to get into DHL for about an hour in total because they were stuck amongst their tractor trailers, which was for their business, but they had to check in. And this happened a couple of times to Kate now, where she's stuck there and she can't go anywhere. And she has to meet someone for an inspection. There's no way for just cars to go through. Do you know what I mean? So we were thinking that something needs to be addressed there for the future. I know that we don't have very much room for industrial land and stuff, but for whatever we do have in the future, maybe we need to be looking at that.
So they were queued up basically in the driveway or whatnot. You couldn't
Yeah,
get around them.
right.
Don't employees have a different driveway to use than the tractor trailers?
What's that?
There's only one entryway in the
Yeah.
DHL, right? That's it.
Yeah, well,
DHL,
It's only one entryway.
Correct, except the emergency exit.
Right.
You mean
Yeah.
our employees are mixed in with the tractor trailers when they come to work?
Yeah, we, when we go there on calls, sometimes the tractor and trailers are backed up, and so we circumvent them and get on the wrong side, which helps it.
Yeah.
They're driving an emergency vehicle to an emergency too.
Right. There's a lot of issues there, and just since this last call, this last fire we had in April, we have some tentative arrangements for some further safety meetings there. One of the big problems we face there is we go down calls and start supposedly that's been addressed in this last fire. They were expecting.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Yeah, so, I mean, it looks like things are progressing, but, yeah, there's some challenges there.
Okay.
The next item, this is something we came across because we were dealing with craft buses that just suddenly appeared in our township, and they're not there anymore. We took care of it. Kate took care of it via cease and desist and such. But in that whole journey of figuring out how to handle this, we were in communication with Attorney Miller. And Attorney Miller had a lot of suggestions in how to deal with this in the future. One being, I believe we should define bus and truck terminal use. I believe that's what it was, Andy. I didn't go back and look at your emails. But then there was another item which was requiring office space, but I don't think that was directly related to just bus and truck terminal uses. It could have been for anything, because what was happening is the bus service only wanted to occupy the parking lots of parcels that had primary structures and a different tenant that was occupying the structure, which in our ordinances you're not allowed to do. And I can't recall right now exactly how it's worded, but essentially you can't do that. In the primary use language per the district, it's the industrial district. It basically says that you can have multiple tenants housed in one structure, but it doesn't say anything about having multiple tenants just on the lot itself. Does that make sense? It's a technicality in language.
Your ordinance limits one principal use per lot.
Unless you're housed in the same building.
Right, if they're
Right.
tenants within the same building, it allows multiple tenants within a building. It could be multiple uses within that building.
Mm-hmm.
But these would be two separate principal uses that would not both be inside one building.
Correct. So that needs fixed. We need to do something about that. The next item, okay, so, and this is more like for Andy just to review, and if we already have good language addressing this, then we'll move on and not put it in the draft. But it was something that had come up at Starbucks. They have multiple access security gate areas, and they were fighting with us that since they have a 24/7 man guard shack at the one end, that they shouldn't need to have siren activated gates at a completely different entrance. And instead, we're going to expect, and I think they did expect, for Chief Stevens' fire engine to just wait there at the other access until the man guard shack guy walks over and lets them in. But that's not how emergencies work. So the point is you either have to have another 24/7 man guard shack over there as well, or do siren activated gates. So it's just something we need to look at. Either way, it's a hazard.
We need an ordinance for that.
Oh,
Is that part of the land development requirements?
This was something that happened after the fact. This wasn't during the land development.
Gotcha.
The next item,
I thought you said you had a couple.
Yeah, couples two, maybe three. Not a laundry list.
Joe.
Just add on a little bit about Starbucks. I mean, that has evolved. Again, the roasting plant is 30 years old. Then we added the warehouse. Now we added the distribution center. And it's effectively 3 properties that they consider the Starbucks campus, but they try and treat everything individually. And it's very confusing. It came very much to light with the whole gate and fencing issue, whereas there was a gate that was not siren activated, that ran off of JCI Way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had to make sure I had the right road now. But it's their property, so well, that's not us. Well, it is. You put the fence up, you install the gate, that's you. And we had a big debate to and back and forth and whatnot. So I guess my point to this is, there is nothing to stop any other business from coming into the area, buying a parcel, then buying the parcel next to it, and buying a third parcel or fourth parcel, and then saying it's the campus, and then trying to treat everything individually. So it's very confusing. I don't know if that's something that needs to be addressed at a zoning level, or it's a consideration that needs to be looked at as to how it's handled, because it creates a very unique situation. In the beginning, they very much wanted us, when they installed the gates, they wanted all the traffic flow to enter one place and exit one place. So they wanted the fire department to do the same as their tractor and trailers making deliveries, go to the main gate that was the entrance, which was the back side of the distribution center towards Zions View Road, and then enter to come back to the roasting plant where the fire is.
Adding another 5 minutes. Easy.
Correct. So,
Let her burn.
I don't know, I get that it's a unique situation, but there's nothing that prohibits any other business or company or industry from coming into the area.
I appreciate that feedback.
Let me ask you a question. Did their gates, did it have numbers on them?
They do now.
Okay.
That's the latest edition,
Yeah.
and that just became active in the last month and a half.
Yeah, with the,
Do they have all their doors numbered?
The doors are not.
Okay. So I was thinking not only fire, but police, because you kind of know what,
And
I believe that's already a requirement.
okay.
Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure they were here and
Guy's
said.
name right now, their safety guy, but, their gates are traditional, lack of a better term, barn door, to swing out gates. And it is costly because they have to notarize both sides and whatnot, so some of them only have, one side that's notarized, so only half the gate opens. Then we get in, yes, as long as we're not at a bad angle, and I tell you Sunday night, we were at a bad angle, and we clipped the one gate. Fortunately, there was no damage to our vehicle. I don't know about their gate, but they did tell me that they have it budgeted for next year for replacing all the gates to go to the whip style, so they'll open quicker and provide a very wide entrance.
So this one individual, he take care of the whole campus?
no, there's different ones
No.
for each.
No, it is so weird back there, so, you know, if we get a fire at the distribution center in the middle of the night, there's no maintenance on staff. And so we've gone down this avenue before, like, you can't call over to the roasting plant and have somebody from maintenance come over and look at, you know, it's an electric co-motor that's plugged in that shorted out, or, you know, and they're like, well, we can ask, but they get a little weird, because they treat everything like a separate business.
Well, they are
Yes,
separate
it's Starbucks.
businesses. Yeah, but they are separate businesses internally, then, unfortunately.
Yeah, correct, and that's how he explained it to me.
They don't necessarily
Yeah,
share resources
You see.
internally.
I can't remember their names
Is,
right
is,
now.
is,
They need a
is,
comprehensive safety plan that spans I guess, co-located facilities, you call it, right?
Right.
Or adjacent facilities in this case, because it's a campus.
is there a need for a meeting, a powwow between the
I think you gotta
Starbucks,
go further up
us?
the food chain, it's
I-
Starbucks, right?
I don't know that it's gonna change anything there. I mean, that's an internal.
We need corporate headquarters to get involved and push some directive down, frankly.
Mhm.
Yeah, but there's somebody at the plant that makes decisions for that, for maintenance and everything else. And if we
Right.
can dictate a emergency plan for them,
Right.
they can push it upstream.
I don't know how unique York is to them, in so much that, that's their biggest, York is the biggest roasting plant in their system, right? So, I don't know that Seattle is more than one building. I don't know if there are other facilities in more than one building, or, you know, is York unique in that they have 3 buildings side by side? Or
Gotcha.
are the other ones separated, or is that?
Yeah, but they're internally, they're completely separate business entities.
Right, and I'm sure they treat it that way.
Sure.
One's production
distribution and whatever else, yeah, so, within an organization like that.
But it, you know, just, it would be so much easier if there was a cooperative effort between, I feel like, you know, Northeastern, the senior high and the intermediate, or
Middle school.
junior high, obviously. Middle school, that's the one, not cooperating.
Right, right.
But if there's a problem at the senior high, they wouldn't be allowed to evacuate the kids to the middle school. Yeah, that's the philosophy, it's like, put your own business.
Okay, let's move on to number 38.
This list isn't very much longer. It just depends on what we talk about here. The next item actually might I imagine while you're here, is it because of the basketball hoops? No? Yes. Okay, very good. All right. The next item is basketball hoops. Right now, our ordinance does not include the street for us to enforce. It's a state law that the police would need to enforce. We enforce private property, okay? And Kate was trying to make it a little easier so that the police did not have to deal with it. We don't just blatantly go out and start enforcing basketball hoops. It always comes in via complaint. You know, we understand that there's safety issues and stuff behind it, but we also understand we're now in summer and kids are home and they're probably playing basketball out in the road. So we try to use some common sense is I guess what I'm saying here. But we weren't sure if the ordinance could even be changed to add the word street, or if that is just something off limits to non-traffic officer like Kate or Debbie. I could tell you that we did reach out to the police because of one in particular that neighbors were complaining about that is out in the road. Is that in Chestnut Valley?
Yeah.
In Chestnut Valley. And the police obviously have reserves about it, but they're going to, you know, do community-friendly mechanisms, which we've already done. It isn't like we just go straight to citation or anything. She does a door hanger and talks to people about it, and if they don't move it, then obviously we have to go to a notice of violation, and then ultimately that results in a citation, but we do try to, you know, not do the citation. It's just some people try to make a point for the whole development, especially make it a big thing on Facebook. So if you don't mind, I would like Andy or Attorney Miller to look into that, if we can add that word in it. The next item is something that came up last month in regards to fire lanes. The way the ordinance is written now is it's whenever it is in connection to a public roadway. We had one in a plan last month where it was internal and did not connect into a public roadway. You guys gave direction that you'd like to see that changed to have both internally and or connecting fire lanes to the public street, you know, to have the minimum pavement design specifications. So we put that on the list. The next item is in regards to signs. Since the test of time, even before me, every business was always required to do an attached business sign when they go to occupy their structure or their unit. And we came across a business recently who didn't want to do it. And we were looking and looking and looking, like, where'd that language come from? And we got the attorneys involved to say, do you know where this is? And it is not there. There is no requirement to make a business have a sign. Yeah, I know. I can't believe it either because I really thought I saw it in there sometime. But so anyways, it's not. So that really needs changed. They should have an attached business sign, and once again, it's never been an issue until now.
Internally illuminated.
We can have it say that, yes, but usually this is in the commercial or industrial district. It's,
You want to say who, what's the difference? Is that in the picture?
What's that?
who was it?
It was somewhere within a shopping center of Manchester. What is that? Manchester
Where
Plaza.
Roses is?
Now, over where the laundromat is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then piggybacking off of that, we weren't sure if something in the permanent signs chart needs to be changed. And then next is,
Well,
oh,
I thought we addressed some signs with
those were freestanding, I believe.
freestanding DHL sign and UNFI sign needs to be internally lit. And I noticed that some of them aren't. I thought UNFI, we put on their land development plan that it had to be internally lit. It's
No,
externally lit.
no, that was afterwards.
Okay.
We were trying to get them to do it afterwards, and then the ordinance came after the fact, and we couldn't go back on them.
Right.
And then the next item is, well, once again, it directly relates to that signage ordeal, because Kate wasn't sure if she could then go back on existing businesses, for instance, Record Club. It always said Record Club, but Record Club does not occupy that space. It's some kind of manufacturing business, and they've been there for a very long time.
You're not getting that gentleman to change that sign.
And then the last two there is a technicality, just needs to be adjusted to add the fire chief, because the fire chief is the one who deals with the Knox boxes, not the codes enforcement officer. So that's all I have. I know it seems long, but actually we had a longer list back a couple of years ago. So
11 or 12, I lost count.
Yeah, I'm up there about
Can
that.
you make that available to us? Your
The
synopsis?
dissertation, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, so that we could go over that and study that until next month and make comments and work with staff.
sure. Yep. That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
And we don't want to revisit slope ratios. And case in point is the tractor that rolled over on a slope that was,
That was a little
Order one.
different because that was a PennDOT right away ordeal.
I know, but using that as an example,
Oh, okay.
because when you come up past Schindler and the business across from Schindler, they need billy goats to mow that. And we left that slide by. But, okay, I digress. So that's all you had, huh?
There's other things under here, but yes.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, do you have it kind of prioritized as to what you think should rise to the top? Or is it just in no particular order?
No particular order.
Are there any you think should rise to the top? If so, you just might want to let us know.
I think that all of them should be done all at the same time. I mean, I think that would be cost effective. If there was anything that we thought was detrimental for you guys to change, I think I would be like, yeah, let's do this now. But
Then is there, what is it, last year, did we have a little get together, planning commissions and hearing board and?
well, what typically happens, that was a unique case because we had not looked at the ordinances for a lot of years. Typically what will happen is when Attorney Miller brings you the draft ordinance, as long as the board here thinks it looks fine, you'll authorize it to get sent to the planning commissions for comments. And I say the planning commissions because there's some SAUDO and zoning ordinances, so they'll have to go through the proper process and stuff. But, they'll make their comments or recommendations, and maybe if they wanted to address anything, and then it'll come back to you guys until you're ready to advertise it for a public hearing.
Okay.
Okay?
But I see which direction you're going there. I mean, last time we had about this many, or maybe more.
Just
And
wondering what else is on.
not that I look forward to having another meeting, but it may behoove us to get a joint meeting with planning and us on these to get,
Well, if we're going after the list, it doesn't hurt. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Might as well add more to the pile if there's something out there.
right, because until we give our opinions, you give your opinions, it's best to talk about them instead of notes passing in the, emails passing in the wind, but, stay tuned, we'll work on that, so.
Barbecue?
So do I hear that you guys want to digest this first before authorizing Attorney Miller to start a draft ordinance?
I think so.
Well, yeah,
Okay,
to the extent that I think we should, get a meeting together between planning and us to discuss this.
okay.
It can be a public meeting.
Shouldn't we have a draft to discuss between the two boards?
I think this list should be
Should,
sufficient.
this list
catalyst.
should be sent to planning commission members.
It should be catalyst for anything the planning commission, or even the hearing board has something
Yeah,
to say about it.
so that we can look at this and digest it and then get together and talk about it. Okay. You okay with that?
Well, I'm not the boss.
Yeah.
You guys are the bosses.
Really? Okay, recreation board, Christie, anything?
No, they weren't able to meet. There was two, members that were out. To my understanding, they are working independently, on the 4th of July event though.
Okay. So do I defer to you for Orchard Glen or Attorney Miller?
Attorney Miller.
Attorney Miller.
So the Orchard Glen Condominium Association sent a notice to the township that they were going to cancel, I guess, individual trash pickup service and hire a roll-off service, I assume a roll-off service for the condominium. Under the trash contract and your municipal waste ordinance, they can do that. Any apartment building, the condominium association can opt out of the service. So I think this is more informational than anything. It's on the agenda, just to notify you that notice was received, and they will apparently, I don't think the notice gave an end date or anything like that. Christie did it.
I thought I heard 30 days notice.
Yeah, it was 30 days.
There's a 30-day notice in the agreement. I'm president of Orchard Glen Condo Association. The next renewal for trash service for the township contract, as well as what the public's going to do, is July 1st. So we will have service as of July 1st.
So we're duly notified.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, all the roads inside of Orchard Glen are all privately owned. They're not township maintained. They're not PennDOT certified or maintained. And it was I've been president of the homeowners association for probably about 16 years, and it's been a growing concern for my homeowners that they wanted something. They wanted to get more control over trash service. We've had some issues with the public. All trash services have issues, but a lot more complaints, and it's just for managing the association and everything else. It makes more sense for us.
Okay.
So we're using another contractor that's already doing business inside the township. So
Well, thank you for attending. Appreciate it.
I appreciate all Christie's help. Christie's fantastic. So
Oh, thank you.
very valuable resource. I've dealt with the township for years.
Don't want to tell her.
Since she's taken over the home, I'm going to say she's spectacular.
Oh, you are so
So
nice.
she's getting
Great
real.
representative. I'm telling you, she's a great representative of the township. You guys love her.
Well, thank you for those comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Need a motion for that?
No,
To accept it.
that's just,
I'm good.
Lieutenant Archambault, any, comments or anything you'd like to discuss? Okay.
We did have
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Schroyer right behind you had a question about the e-bikes and everything. Do you hear anything on any legislation or enforcement of those? They got e-bikes, e-skateboards, and everything else going
Yeah,
on.
they put out some recent legislation about 16-year-olds now having to wear helmets and things of that nature. And there's a whole list of things that even I read through, and I was astounded by the amount of, well, if it's this, then it's that. If it's that, then it's this. And, there's rules in there now about the wattage for the bikes, who can ride them, and
Weight.
the weight, everything. So we're literally going to have to look at the e-bikes, we'll call them, we'll just put them all into the category for now. Look at it, then decide, or find out how old the driver is, and then decide if they are violating any kind of, rule within that, but initially, if you can stop them, they would have to do traffic, some kind of traffic violation if you see something, but then you have to investigate to see whether you're 16, are you over this, and then can you ride a certain wattage, does it have pedals, is it, it's very convoluted.
I'm
Very
sure.
convoluted.
Do they have a right of way on the road like bicycles?
Yes.
And what about riding down like the middle?
But the
I
problem
see them
is-
every morning going to school. No, when it's in session to ride down middle Summer Street.
I was on Queen Street the other day, and one was in I call it the hammer lane, but the passing vehicles.
Yeah.
He was obviously an adult, but he was going faster than the actual vehicles on the road, and he was in the hammer lane passing.
Was he texting?
Thank you.
Thanks, Lieutenant. Okay, correspondence, any other correspondence, Christie?
No, I have no other correspondence.
Okay, we'll open the floor to public comments. Any public comments at this time? Yeah.
Stop. Because they constantly try to grind takes a golf cart and drive down the lane to take you to the other development. So it's constant. I've contacted the police department. I've actually had e-bikes come to the end of Steffi Drive, down in my field, up through the other people's properties. They do that all the time. They come from school and do it constantly. And I get no help from the police department to sit there and watch them. I know it doesn't happen all the time, but I had Scott George out there, and he saw the pants, my brother saw them. So it's a constant. I would like to get the Kinsley cement his heavy blocks and block that off. It won't be permanent, it's in the right of way. How can I block it off? That we can always move them, but I wanna make it that they can't use that as a right of way.
Down at the T?
But
At the T?
back the lane,
Oh, back the lane.
yeah, right between the two fences, because there's two fences, but the right of way's there. That's where the force main and stuff comes. I don't wanna dig into the ground.
Where it connects over to, you have a tenant back there.
What?
Back where you have a tenant area, and then it goes into, or it looks like it would go into Rolling Meadows.
Yes.
Okay, I know where you're at.
Grass right down my
Okay.
lane and fly back and forth from there constantly.
I can tell you that what we've done in the past is we've required, I know that you might not prefer this, but it's the chain, like just posts in a chain kind of thing, and then you put signage on it. We had,
I was standing with District Justice,
Eckenrode,
Hackenroad.
yeah.
They walked right past me. I told them, just turn around because you're trespassing. They basically shot me the finger, walked around me, and ran back the lane.
Joy.
They don't care. They literally don't care.
So, but that is an easement for something. Who was that an easement for? That's a sewer
There's a
easement.
force main that comes down there, there's water that goes back through there.
Yeah,
There's a utility.
easement. This reminds me, I mean, it's not exactly the same, but it reminds me of the one off of Zion's View before DHL. I don't remember who owns that, Texter, Lisa Texter. She obtained that lane, I don't know if you recall, and she was having cars from DHL who continued to pull in there. And then it did stop once we put up the post and the chain.
Am I liable if somebody comes across?
Is it a
there and
gate?
hangs himself
Oh,
down
I'm
the
sorry, it's a gate. I think a gate could be doable. My concern is the utility access is all. And then you would put signage on it. But I think that could help. But then they could get beyond. If you had a gate, could they still get beyond on like a go around kind of thing?
Both properties have two fences on either side.
Okay.
So if I could close in between them
Yeah.
and stop the access.
Yeah. I think it would be a very simple permit. No, that would be his, and it might need an agreement of some kind.
Between who?
I'm not sure. How about we'll look into it and we'll get back to you because we might have to consult with Attorney Miller too on that. It might be a fence permit with an agreement because it's an easement. We don't typically allow fences over easements kind of thing, but with agreements that get recorded against the land, they can.
I'm thinking it's easily blocked out and use my Toyota and I'll slap them. And then they can be moved if something ever happens.
I'm gonna have to defer to Attorney Miller on that.
Well, the blocks would not be permanent structures likely, so, but I don't know how you interpreted that elsewhere. That would be the only difference.
No one's ever had that idea before. So, never got to read if that would meet or disagree with the spirit of that ordinance. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and the other question is whether it violates the easement. The easements usually say you can't place any obstructions in the easement area, so.
Yeah.
I don't know on that front, but if they're movable blocks, they're not permanent structures, and usually that's what you can't do, either plant trees or vegetation.
Right, I understand that can't put a regular physical fence out there, drill holes and put concrete and do all that kind of stuff. Obviously, it's something that could be moved. But the heavy amount that someone can't move without the right.
Right.
But if a utility wanted to go back there, they'd have to then, I guess, coordinate with the property owner in order to get them moved because the utility company's not going to go and move them.
Yeah, I don't know what the utility companies would say if they say that's a violation of the easement or not. And that's not really a township issue.
Okay.
Either, so, whatever utilities are there, check with the easement say or confirm it. Okay. Is that it? I thought Shep was
And
on
you might be water that.
I don't remember. I remember the sewer authority though, and I know they require an agreement when you want to go over their force main and things. You can't just do it without their approval. It has to go to their meeting, and we'll look into it. And we'll get back to you and read what the ordinances and how say and how it's defined.
Yeah, they see me, they just run. I got pictures of them shooting me in there, doing all kinds of
You're still number one, man, aren't you?
Yeah, you're number
It's
one.
unfortunate.
Okay, no problem.
Any other comments? Yes, sir, Bob.
The DCED meeting, will that be held here?
That will be held here.
Is that a public meeting?
No, that is a committee meeting for fire service study that the state is doing.
Three supervisors, yeah, at that meeting.
Will the 3 supervisors be at that meeting?
I plan to be
Yes.
It wasn't that violate the sunshine law.
here. No, we're allowed to attend meetings, we just can't debate anything. Can't make any decisions. But we can be, participate in the meeting and listen, just can't vote on anything.
Any others?
I make a motion, we pay all bills.
Second that motion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Supervisor comments, Dean?
Just the one thing I've been stirring over is, at the previous meeting, we had folks from Mustard's Farm come in and ask about rezoning the property. I'm still struggling with that, in all honesty. Long story short, part of me just says, do nothing. Just leave it zoned the way it is. Let the chips fall where they may. It's zoned residential R1, and if some developer wants to come in and build houses, so be it. They've got to tick all the boxes, provide services. If they want to get half-acre size lots, otherwise they need acre-size lots. And in my opinion, based on the housing market, they're probably going to have to sell north of $400,000 to make any profit. And it's going to take a while to sell houses that costly adjacent to an industrial area, which means it's a slow rise in the impact on the school district and even the sewer authority for those matters. But I just been struggling with that. And so I wanted to share that comment. That's all I had.
Okay, thank you. You have a list too.
Yeah.
Oh.
I represented the township, the East Manchester Township residents at the memorial service. The parade was canceled, but the service was held inside the Manchester Fire Hall. It was a nice ceremony, presented the wreath to the township. Secondly, most people know I volunteer with Team Rubicon, and with that in mind, York County EMA was running a drill called Operation Safe Haven briefing at York Fairgrounds. That was on May 29th.
Mm-hmm.
And what we were asked to do is be players in this, and it was in conjunction with Peach Bottom being tested. It was 17, I got the numbers here. There were 17 agencies involved, state, federal, and local, as well as FEMA and PEMA. People were there observing, critiquing. My job as a player was I had a dog that I wanted to check for radiation, and they assigned me a buck. It was a sheltering drill. So they had a whole bunch of us, and they opened up one of the buildings at Memorial Hall and sheltered us. And they showed how they fed us. They actually fed us and everything. But the interesting thing was that I came in and I said, I got a dog here. I want to check for radiation, because they were looking at also accommodating pets. And they sent me back in the bunkhouse with my dog, and I realized, well, I knew that wasn't the proper procedure, but I played along with their game. And then later on, about a half hour later, they tested my dog and said, yep, he got radiation. So then they had to decontaminate my bunk and the area around me, and had to figure all that out. But it was a good drill. It showed that your county can house it. We had a disaster up in this area, and we had to relocate people. It was more likely to go to Memorial Hall, York Fairgrounds, and the building could be set up there to house the people and take care of the food and medical needs. And it's interesting to see that you would be issued a tag like this, and they can bar scan the stuff and as they process you, they would have a record of what you're doing and where you are and how to get a hold of emergency people for you. One of my goals when I became a supervisor was to create a mission statement, and that kind of fell to the side, except recently I did start working on a draft copy, and I just sent it out to everybody for review and comments and suggestions. And last thing I have is we're still getting a hit on the residents for better zoning or something in East Manchester Township. I read the comments, but I do not post or answer them. But I will say this, the one post by Renee Davis, it said, her quote was, "What relationship and backdoor deals are driving the decision on a board of supervisors is making, or what third-party resources are being utilized if unknown," end of quote. Again, just want to reiterate to people that we have no knowledge of any data centers being proposed or talked about in East Manchester Township. We did do an overlay of some ground to allow, under the doctrine, the fair share doctrine. But with that in mind, we have no knowledge of anything. Nothing's been proposed, nothing's been called and submitted. If a landowner is talking to somebody, a data center about it, we don't know about it. And they don't buy the ground unless they can get their project approved, and that's for any development. And there are other comments on there that are just innuendos, and constantly we're saying that we're afraid of questions, but yet we have public comments, anybody can ask questions and make comments twice in our meetings. That's all I have.
I don't have anything other than, did the dog make it?
I never got it back.
I'd like to make a motion that we recess to executive session for personnel matters. Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.
But they can give me
Does this mean you were the turtle?
Yeah, I mean, they can
Carol,
come as a resident. but
this
this
one.
Yeah,
Should I sit like that?
yeah. Oh, hold on, let me shut off the live stream. So